Some walk in doubt, some walk in fear, some walk in confusion. But there is a way to walk, a way that is wrapped in light, covered in mercy, led by wisdom, and soaked in provision. This is walking in the favor of God. Every step you take matters. Every path you choose shapes your destiny. There is a walk that is not ordinary. There is a walk that is not burdened by the weight of this world. It is a walk where doors open without knocking, where burdens lift without explanation, where protection surrounds you without you seeing it, and blessings come down before you even lift your hands. It is the walk of those who trust their Lord, obey His commands, and move forward knowing that He is enough. Today, I will show you the steps. Today, I will show you the walk in the favor of God. The favor of God does not fall randomly. It is not given without wisdom. It rests on those who build their lives on a solid foundation of trust and faith in their Lord. Without faith, the heart is hollow and the steps are weak. But when a person's heart beats with certainty, when every breath is filled with trust in the unseen promise, when every thought surrenders to the knowledge that God never breaks His word, then the ground beneath that person becomes steady, even if the world around them shakes. The foundation of favor is not built by words alone. It is built by the hidden conversations between a soul and its creator. It is built in the silent moments when no one sees the tears, when no one hears the whispered prayers, when no one knows the weight being carried except the one who created the heart that carries it. Favor is not earned by showing off outward deeds while the heart is hollow inside. Favor falls when the heart turns to its Lord completely, admitting weakness, admitting need, admitting that no plan, no strength, and no intelligence will ever succeed without the permission and mercy of the one who holds the heavens and the earth. True favor is born when a person says, even if the world closes its doors, even if the people abandon me, even if every road becomes blocked, my Lord is enough for me, and He is the best disposer of affairs. This kind of faith pulls the favor of God like the earth pulls the rain. It cannot be stopped. The favor of God flows towards those who walk in surrender. Not a surrender of defeat, but a surrender of power. The power of recognizing that true might belongs only to God, and the one who trusts Him walks in His strength, not their own. Trust is shown not just in easy times, but in storms. Anyone can claim faith when the sun is shining, but when the winds rage, when the future is uncertain, when the night is dark and long, the one who says, my Lord will make a way, is the one whose feet will walk on pathways of favor, while others stumble in confusion. God has promised that He is with those who trust Him, not just near them, not just watching them, with them. His support, His guidance, His protection, all poured down on the one who clings to Him with both hands, refusing to let go even when the climb is steep and the hands are tired. And when that trust is firm, the soul becomes fearless, the heart becomes at peace, the favor becomes visible, not always in riches or in worldly success, but in a life covered with blessings that cannot be counted, in a soul protected from destruction, even when surrounded by it, in a light that guides the path while others walk blind. Favor starts where doubt ends. It lives where certainty breathes. It is nurtured by constant remembrance, by placing one's reliance not on the creation but on the Creator, not on plans but on prayers, not on strategies but on sincerity. When a person plants their trust deep in the soil of faith, the tree of favor grows, tall, unshakable, bearing fruits that feed the soul and shelter that protects the life. The foundation of favor is trust so deep that when trials come, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The heart says, there must be a wisdom I do not see yet. But my Lord is never unjust. Instead of falling into despair, the soul rises into reliance. Instead of being crushed by hardship, the spirit is lifted by hope. It is this kind of soul that favor seeks out, because it is a soul that has proven it can carry the blessing without arrogance and can endure the testing without rebellion. Favor does not chase those who chase the world. Favor chases those who chase their Lord. And when they find him, everything else follows. Success, peace, provision, protection, guidance. Not because they sought them directly, but because they sought the face of the one who owns them all. Favor belongs to those who have built the fortress of their lives on trust, so unshakable that even if everything is taken from them, they still walk with their heads high, their hearts full, and their souls rich, because they know the greatest treasure was never in the hands, but always in the heart, the treasure of complete, unwavering trust in God. Obedience is the golden key that unlocks the vast treasure of favor. It is not enough to believe in the heart if the limbs do not move according to the command of the Lord. Faith without obedience is like a riverbed without water. It has the shape, but it lacks the life. True favor pours down upon the one who hears a command from their Lord and says without hesitation, "We hear and we obey." There is no argument in their soul, no resistance in their heart, no delay in their act. They move quickly toward what is commanded, not because they always understand every reason, but because they trust the one who commands. Obedience is the proof of loyalty. It is easy to claim love with words, but love is tested in the field of obedience. When the soul is pulled by desires in one direction, but the command of the Lord points in another, the one who chooses obedience is the one who shows that their love is true. Favor descends upon the obedient heart because it has already surrendered its pride, its opinions, and its preferences to the will of the one who knows what is best. Every act of obedience builds a step in the staircase of favor. Every time the soul bends to a command, even when it is hard, even when it costs something, even when no one else is watching, a door of blessing swings open. The obedient do not pick and choose what to follow. They do not obey when it is easy and abandon when it is hard. They treat every command as sacred, every instruction as a pathway to nearness. And because of that consistency, favor follows them like a shadow that never leaves. The one who obeys sincerely and constantly will find that even when they stumble, even when they fall short, the mercy of God lifts them back up, because they have shown their heart belongs to him. Obedience polishes the heart until it shines so brightly that favor is drawn to it naturally. Disobedience clouds the heart, causing the favor to slip away unnoticed. It is not that favor is withheld without reason. It is that favor cannot rest in a heart that chooses rebellion over submission. Favor is the gentle rain that falls on the soft soil of obedience, not the rocky ground of stubbornness. A heart that obeys attracts light, attracts guidance, attracts blessings that multiply beyond calculation. When a person obeys the commands of their Lord, even when the world around them disobeys, they are marked by a special kind of favor. They are protected when others are exposed, elevated when others are humbled, and guided when others are lost. Their steps are guarded, their decisions are blessed, their nights are filled with peace, and their days are filled with openings. Doors that others bang on remain shut, but for the obedient heart they open without effort. Obedience is not a prison, it is a liberation. It frees the soul from the chains of confusion and the burdens of regret. Every act of obedience lifts a person closer to the mercy, closer to the wisdom, closer to the pleasure of the Lord. And when the Lord is pleased with someone, his favor covers their life like a cloak that shields them from harm and adorns them with unseen beauty. The favor that comes through obedience is not always seen immediately. Sometimes the act of obedience feels hard at first, and the reward seems delayed, but favor is stored, preserved, multiplied, waiting for the perfect moment to be unleashed. The obedient soul trusts that no act of surrender goes unnoticed. They know that the Lord of all things never overlooks a single tear shed in obedience, a single temptation resisted for his sake, a single sacrifice made to honor his word. Obedience draws favor not just to the person, but to their family, to their wealth, to their children, to their future. It plants seeds of blessing that bloom across generations. The obedient are remembered in the heavens, even if forgotten on earth. Their names are written among those who honored the covenant, who lived their lives in devotion, who walked the path of submission, and found at every step the gentle breeze of divine favor, pushing them forward. To walk in favor is to walk in obedience. To rise in favor is to bend the will in surrender. To be covered in favor is to be covered first, in the humility of a heart that says, I do not know what is best for me. I do not command my own soul. I obey the one who shaped me, who sustains me, who loves me more than I could ever love myself. Such a heart cannot be abandoned. Such a soul cannot be forgotten. Such a life cannot go without the favor that rains down from the Lord of all mercy. Patience is the bridge that carries the believer from the moment of struggle to the moment of victory. It is not merely waiting with gritted teeth, nor is it enduring with a bitter heart. True patience is a deep, living trust that flows through every vein, a certainty that what is delayed is not denied, and what is withheld is only being prepared in a way that will be better than anything imagined. Patience is not weakness. It is one of the greatest displays of strength. It is to hold the heart steady when the winds of hardship howl, to keep the soul anchored when the tides of uncertainty rise high, to keep the eyes fixed on the promise when everything around seems to say otherwise. Favor comes to those who have learned to wait with grace. It comes to those who do not allow their tongues to speak in complaint when the test drags on, who do not allow their hearts to sink into despair when the door remains closed a little longer. It is easy to be hopeful when the answer is immediate, but patience is tested when the days stretch into weeks and the weeks stretch into months, and still the soul says, my Lord knows best. My Lord's timing is perfect. My Lord's wisdom is beyond what I can see. That is the soil where favor grows, where the heart continues to believe, continues to serve, continues to worship without letting frustration take root. The one who is patient is not forgotten. Every sigh is counted, every tear is seen, every silent prayer whispered into the darkness is recorded with care. The Lord, who commanded patience, also promised that with hardship comes ease, that the patient will be given without measure, that no act of waiting for his sake will ever be in vain. Patience transforms the soul. It softens the rough edges, purifies intentions, strengthens the resolve, and prepares the heart to receive what it was not yet ready for. Sometimes the delay is not a punishment, but a preparation, a polishing of the heart, so that when the favor descends, the soul can hold it without arrogance and without it becoming a burden. Many people run ahead of their blessings because they lack patience. They settle for less because they refuse to wait for the best. They choose the immediate satisfaction over the lasting reward. But those who understand the secret of patience walk steadily, knowing that favor delayed is favor multiplied. They know that a fruit picked too early is bitter, but a fruit allowed to ripen on its branch is sweet and nourishing. It's relevant. They trust that what is coming is better than what is gone, because it is prepared by the one who holds all goodness in his hand. Patience is not passive. It is active surrender. It is working while waiting. It is striving while trusting. It is praying without ceasing and believing without doubting. It is to keep moving forward with the heart full of hope, even when the path is covered in shadows. It is to prepare for the blessing even before it arrives, to ready the heart, to cleanse the intentions, to sharpen the gratitude, so that when the favor finally comes, it finds a vessel ready to receive it. Favor flows most abundantly to those who master patience because they have proven that their worship was not conditional on receiving what they wanted. Their faith was not tied to the immediacy of the answer. Their love for their Lord was greater than their love for the outcome. And so the favor that descends upon them is pure, overflowing, wrapped in mercy, and laden with unseen gifts. Sometimes patience protects the soul from a blessing that, if given too soon, would have been a curse. Sometimes patience lifts a person to heights they never could have reached if they had taken shortcuts. The patient person shines with a light that hardship cannot dim. They become a testimony of trust. They inspire others to hold firm. They carry within themselves a dignity that no worldly success could ever buy. Because patience teaches reliance, it teaches resilience, it teaches humility, and above all, it teaches that the best gifts come from the giver at the best time, not at the time demanded by the impatient heart. To walk in favor is to walk in patience. To wait when the soul screams for relief, but still choose to trust. To stand firm when the storm batters, but still choose to hope. To kneel in prayer with the same sincerity on the 1,000th night as on the first. To believe in the unseen promise more strongly than in the visible trial. This patience is the mark of those who are truly honored. Their names are lifted, their ranks are raised, and their lives are covered in favor because they chose to wait for the rain of mercy instead of running into the desert of haste. Patience unlocks the doors that no human hand could ever open. It calls down the favor that was written for the soul before the soul even knew what to ask for. And when it re-arrives, it covers the patient one in a blessing so profound that every moment of waiting will seem light compared to the weight of the mercy that finally descends. Gratitude is the magnet that draws favor closer and closer. It is the powerful force that transforms what little a person has into abundant blessings, and it is the secret that keeps the doors of mercy wide open. When a heart is filled with gratitude, it becomes a fertile ground where the rain of favor falls without interruption. Gratitude is not only about speaking words of thanks, it is about living a life that shows appreciation in every moment, in every action, and in every breath. The one who practices gratitude does not wait until they have everything they desire before they give thanks. They do not wait until every prayer is answered exactly the way they wish before they recognize the kindness already surrounding them. Instead, they look at the smallest gift and see in it a doorway to infinite mercy. They look at the breath they take without effort, the heartbeat that never pauses, the eyes that see, the ears that hear, the mind that understands. And they say deep within their soul, my Lord, everything I have is from you. This constant recognition draws more blessings because when the heart acknowledges the giver increases the gift. Gratitude is an act of worship that is both beautiful and powerful. It is a shield against arrogance, because the grateful one never imagines that their success is from their own cleverness or strength. They see clearly that without divine permission, nothing would have been achieved. And without divine mercy, nothing would have been sustained. The grateful heart does not look at what is missing, it looks at what has been given and magnifies it in its sight until the soul feels overwhelmed with richness. And when a soul feels rich with what has been given, even before more is added, it becomes a vessel that can carry even greater favor without being shattered by pride. Those who master gratitude find that their lives are filled with light even in difficult times. Gratitude teaches the heart to see blessings even in trials, to find lessons even in hardship, to trust that every circumstance holds a hidden mercy. When the heart remains grateful during ease and hardship alike, favor flows to it naturally because it has proven itself trustworthy. It has shown that it will not turn away in bitterness when tested, nor will it turn arrogant when enriched. The one who lives with gratitude finds that even if the world withholds its approval, even if people turn away, the favor of their Lord surrounds them like a cloak that cannot be taken off. Gratitude brings a peace that circumstances cannot steal. It roots the soul deeply into the soil of contentment. And from that soil, the flowers of favor bloom. Every moment spent in sincere thanks is like planting seeds that will grow into gardens of blessings in this life and gardens of reward in the next. Gratitude is not only for the large and obvious blessings, it is for the hidden ones as well. It is for the dangers averted without knowledge, for the illnesses cured before they were even felt, for the evil kept at bay by unseen protection. The grateful heart thanks not only for what was given, but also for what was withheld, not only for what was seen, but also for what was hidden. In this depth of gratitude, favor finds a home it never wishes to leave. The soul that constantly practices gratitude becomes a soul that is prepared for greater responsibilities and greater trust. Just as a person would not entrust a precious treasure to one who does not value small things, divine wisdom entrusts greater favors to those who honor every small blessing. Favor increases for the grateful, not because they demand it, but because they attract it naturally. Through humility, through acknowledgement, through love of the giver above all gifts. Gratitude is an unavoidable part of living life. I lied. Instead of eyes filled with envy at what others possess, their eyes are filled with envy at what others possess. Their eyes are filled with wonder at what they have been given. Instead of a heart burdened with complaints, their heart is light with praise. Instead of a tongue quick to speak of what is lacking, their tongue is swift to proclaim what is abundant. And this way of living builds a fortress around the soul that protects it from despair, jealousy, arrogance, and bitterness. Gratitude is not a small thing. It is a way of life. It is a discipline that shapes the heart into a vessel that can hold limitless favor. It is the perfume that rises from the soul and is received with pleasure by the Lord of all things. And the promise has been made clear. When you give thanks, you will be given more. Not just more wealth or success, but more peace, more strength, more wisdom, more light, more nearness to the source of all favor. This is the true wealth of the grateful, that their hearts are rich long before their hands are full, and their souls are adorned with blessings long before the world can see them. Gratitude magnifies favor until it floods every corner of life, leaving no space untouched by mercy, no day untouched by blessing, no night untouched by the sweet companionship of divine kindness. Humility is the gateway through which favor walks into a person's life. It is the adornment of the heart that makes it beautiful in the sight of the Lord. A heart wrapped in humility is a heart prepared to receive gifts that pride would only destroy. Humility is not weakness, it is not self-hatred or false modesty. True humility is strength wrapped in submission. It is knowing who you are, where you stand, and recognizing without any doubt that every blessing, every talent, every opportunity flows from the mercy of the one who created you. It is to see yourself not as independent and self-sufficient, but as entirely reliant on the grace that holds the heavens and the earth together. A humble soul understands that they are not entitled to anything. They do not approach life with demands, but with gratitude for whatever has been given. They do not boast of their achievements, because they know that without divine permission, the very breath they used to speak would not have been theirs. This attitude of deep acknowledgement softens the heart, polishes the soul, and makes it a place where favor feels at home. Pride repels blessings, but humility draws them closer. Humility teaches a person to lower themselves before their Lord in every circumstance, whether in public or private, whether praised or blamed. The humble soul knows that all honor and all disgrace ultimately rest in the hands of the one who judges truthfully. They are not swayed by the opinions of others, nor do they seek to lift themselves up through comparison. Their worth is measured by their sincerity and obedience, not by worldly status. And because they empty themselves of arrogance, they are filled with mercy, wisdom, and light from the unseen world. The favor that comes to a humble heart is a favor that does not destroy the soul, but elevates it. When favor comes to the arrogant, it becomes a weapon that turns against them, leading them to their downfall. But when favor comes to the humble, it becomes a tool for greater good, for deeper gratitude, for higher service. A humble person carries their blessings with gentleness, knowing that what was given can be taken, and that the true treasure is not the blessing itself, but the nearness to the giver. Humility also opens the door to knowledge. The arrogant believe they already know enough, but the humble are always learning, always growing, always seeking. They listen when others speak. They reflect before they act. They seek guidance before making decisions. They are not too proud to admit mistakes, not too stubborn to seek forgiveness, not too blind to recognize their own flaws. Because of this openness, wisdom flows to them like a river, and favor finds in them a vessel ready to be. In humility, there is a deep peace. The humble person does not need to prove themselves to the world. They are content to be seen or unseen, praised or criticized, lifted or overlooked. Their goal is not to please the creation, but to please the Creator. And this sincerity protects their heart from the storms of pride and the traps of vanity that destroy so many. They move through life lightly with grace because they are not burdened by the heavy chains of ego. The humble also serve others without seeking reward or recognition. They see service not as humiliation but as honor. They help the weak, lift the broken, and comfort the sorrowful because they know that they too stand in need of mercy every moment of their lives. This service increases their favor because those who show mercy are shown mercy. And those who humble themselves for the sake of their Lord are raised by Him in ways that no worldly effort could ever achieve. Favor multiplies when it finds a home in a heart that bows low before the greatness of its Lord. Such a heart is never destroyed by the blessings it receives. It does not hoard. It does not boast. It does not use its blessings to oppress others. Instead, it becomes a fountain from which others drink, a light by which others find their way, a shelter under which others find rest. To walk in favor is to walk with a bowed head and a heart lifted high. It is to understand that every step taken is by permission. Every word spoken is by allowance. Every success achieved is by decree. It is to live in constant awareness that everything you are and everything you have is a trust, and the one who gave it can increase it, test it, or remove it according to His perfect wisdom. Humility transforms how favor operates in a person's life. It does not make the person careless or passive. It makes them more active, more grateful, more responsible. They work with greater sincerity. They speak with greater gentleness. They lead with greater compassion because they know they are servants before they are anything else. A humble soul is content in obscurity if that is where they are placed, and grateful for prominence if it is given, because they know their true station is determined not by the eyes of men, but by the gaze of the Lord upon their hearts. Thus, favor rests on the humble like rain on fertile soil. It nourishes, it strengthens, it beautifies. It turns ordinary lives into extraordinary journeys of mercy, light, and purpose. Humility does not strip a person of greatness. It adorns them with a greatness that is real, lasting, and honored both on earth and beyond.
Faithfulness is the anchor that holds the soul steady while favor is unfolding. It is the unwavering loyalty to the commands and the promises of the Lord, even when the path grows dark, when the winds of difficulty rise, and when the rewards seem distant. Faithfulness is not dependent on circumstance. It is not fragile, breaking at the first sign of trouble. True faithfulness endures. It clings tightly to trust in the unseen, even when the visible world offers no evidence of hope. It is to walk in obedience when the mind does not understand and when the heart wrestles with fear, and still to say, I will remain steadfast because I know who my master is. A faithful person continues to do what is right even when no one sees, even when there is no applause, even when it would be easier to compromise. Faithfulness is proven not when life is easy and the rewards are immediate, but when doing the right thing costs something. Reputation, comfort, opportunity, and yet the soul chooses integrity over convenience. It is the deep conviction that favor is not earned by manipulation or shortcuts, but by the quiet, consistent practice of obedience and trust. Favor is attracted to faithfulness because faithfulness is rare. Many begin the journey with excitement, but not all endure when the excitement fades and the hard work begins. Faithfulness is perseverance when prayers seem unanswered, when dreams are delayed, when setbacks come one after another. It is refusing to give up, refusing to turn back, and refusing to let go of the promises that have been made. The faithful understand that tests are not signs of abandonment, but opportunities to prove loyalty. They understand that delays are not denials, but preparations. Faithfulness also requires purity of intention. The faithful one serves not for recognition, not for reward, but because they have committed themselves out of love and reverence. Their actions are consistent whether people praise them or ignore them, because their service is not for the eyes of people but for the pleasure of the Lord. This sincerity builds a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of great favor without cracking under the pressure. The one who walks faithfully can be trusted with greater responsibilities, greater gifts, greater influence, because they have shown that the loyalty is not shallow. They can be trusted not to misuse the blessings they're given, not to become arrogant, not to betray the principles they lived by when they had little. Faithfulness prepares the soul for promotion because it purifies the soul for promotion, because it purifies the soul of selfish ambition and makes it ready to steward favor with humility and wisdom. Faithfulness is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle, a daily choice. It is getting up every day and choosing to walk in truth even when lies seem more profitable. It is choosing kindness when anger feels justified. It is choosing to give when it feels easier to withhold. It is choosing to stay the course when every emotion screams to quit. These small daily acts of faithfulness build a character that can carry immense favor without being corrupted by it. This faithfulness is also linked with trust. A faithful person trusts that their labor is not in vain even when the results are hidden. They trust that the unseen world is in motion even when the visible world appears silent. They trust that every act of obedience, every step of faith, every moment of perseverance is seen, recorded, and will be rewarded in due time. This trust fuels their endurance. It gives them the strength to stay steady when others fall away. In the story of favor, it is often the faithful who seem overlooked for a time, passed by, forgotten, but in the unseen realms, they are being prepared, positioned, and perfected. When the moment of favor arrives, it does not find them scrambling to get ready. It finds them already faithful, already proven, already steady. And the favor that comes is not fleeting because it is built on a foundation that will not be shaken. Faithfulness also transforms relationships. A faithful person is dependable. Their words can be trusted. Their promises are kept. They are not blown about by emotions or by changing circumstances. They are a refuge to others because they reflect, even in their human way, the faithfulness of the one they serve. Their consistency brings stability to their families, to their communities, to everyone around them. Favor follows them because they are builders of trust and keepers of peace. In a world that prizes instant gratification and quick success, faithfulness is a revolutionary act. It refuses to bow to the pressures of speed and shortcuts. It declares that true success is not measured by how quickly one rises, but by how faithfully one walks the journey. And because it is so rare, it is so highly honored. To walk in favor is to walk in faithfulness. To walk when the road is rough. To build when the materials are scarce. To believe when the evidence is invisible. To love when the heart is tired. To give when the hands are empty. And to praise when the soul is weary. Faithfulness is the quiet strength that calls down favor like rain upon dry ground. It is the evidence of a soul rooted deeply in trust, watered by perseverance and adorned with and in the end, it is the faithful who are lifted high, not because they chased favor, but because favor was drawn irresistibly to the beauty of their steadfast heart. Obedience is the bridge between seeking favor and walking fully in it. It is not enough to desire favor, to speak about favor, to dream about favor. The true path to favor is paved with obedience. Deliberate, sincere, and complete obedience. It is the giving over of one's will to the will of the one who created all things. The submission of personal desires to divine commands, and the willingness to act even when the command challenges the comfort of the soul. Obedience is not simply an outward act. It is a reflection of an inward heart posture. A heart that loves and reveres its Lord will obey not reluctantly, but eagerly, recognizing that every command is rooted in wisdom, mercy, and perfect knowledge. Obedience is trust made visible. It says, even when I do not fully understand, even when the path is steep and the cost is high, I will obey. Because I know who is commanding me. It is a surrender that does not weaken a person, but strengthens them beyond measure. Favor does not rest upon the rebellious, the stubborn, or the self-willed. Favor finds a home in the heart that bows low and says, your way, not mine. Obedience opens doors that talent alone cannot open. It unlocks blessings that striving and ambition could never reach. It brings about victories that no amount of human planning could achieve. Because obedience aligns a person with the divine current. And when a person is aligned with that current, nothing can stand against them. Obedience often requires sacrifice. It calls for letting go of things the heart clings to. It demands walking away from opportunities that seem good but are not right. It requires turning down shortcuts that lead to quick success but long-term destruction. True obedience is tested in moments of choice, when the easy path and the right path diverge, and the soul must decide which voice to follow. In those moments, the obedient heart chooses faithfulness over convenience, truth over comfort, the unseen reward over the immediate pleasure. There are times when obedience will isolate a person, when standing firm on the path of righteousness causes others to mock, to abandon, or to oppose. Yet it is precisely in these moments that obedience shines brightest. The favor of the Lord is not measured by popularity or worldly approval. It is measured by the nearness of his presence. The peace he plants deep within the obedient soul. The unseen victories he grants when all seems lost. Obedience Obedience also requires consistency. It is not enough to obey when it is easy, when it is praised, or when it benefits personal goals. True obedience is constant, in public and in private, in moments of strength and moments of weakness, when others are watching and when no one sees but the all-seeing. Every act of consistent obedience builds a life that favor can trust. It shapes a character that can carry heavy blessings without collapsing under their weight. There is beauty in obedience because it is a declaration of love. The obedient soul is saying with every action, I trust you more than I trust myself. I love you more than I love my comfort. I believe in your wisdom more than in my limited understanding. This kind of obedience is fragrant in the unseen world. It rises like a sweet aroma and calls forth favor in ways that no human effort can manufacture. Obedience also brings clarity. When a person lives in obedience, their heart becomes sensitive to divine guidance. They recognize the signs that others miss. They hear the subtle nudges that others ignore. They are guided away from traps, directed toward opportunities, shielded from harm, and led into wide spaces of blessing. Obedience sharpens the soul's perception, aligns the steps with purpose, and ensures that no effort is wasted. The obedient do not live perfect lives. They stumble, they fall, they struggle. But what distinguishes them is that they rise quickly, they repent sincerely, and they return immediately to the path of obedience. They do not wallow in disobedience, nor do they justify it. Their hearts are tender, quick to respond, eager to return to the shelter of favor. And because of this humility, their missteps become lessons, their failures become stepping stones, and their obedience becomes deeper and stronger with every trial. Obedience is not about legalism or lifeless rule following. It is about relationship. It is the proof of love, the evidence of trust, the fruit of devotion. The obedient person is not motivated by fear alone, but by a desire to be pleasing to the one they love most. Their obedience is not a burden, it is a joy, because it draws them closer to the source of all favor, all peace, all true success. Walking in favor requires a heart that is trained in obedience. It demands a soul that says yes before it even knows the full instruction, a will that has already surrendered before the next command is given. And this kind of obedience is powerful beyond measure. It moves mountains, it defeats enemies, it opens prison doors, it transforms destinies, it brings light into the darkest places and calls light into the most barren deserts. Favor rests where obedience lives. It multiplies where obedience is treasured. It overflows where obedience is the foundation. To walk in favor is to walk in obedience, step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment, until the life becomes a living testimony that favor is not random, it is not accidental, it is the inevitable result of a life wholly submitted to the will of the Almighty. Gratitude is the magnet that draws more favor into a person's life. It is not merely the uttering of polite words, but the deep posture of the heart that recognizes every blessing, seen and unseen, and responds with sincere acknowledgement and appreciation. Gratitude transforms the soul, opening it wide to receive more, because a grateful heart is a heart that understands the true nature of favor, that it is not earned, not demanded, but gifted out of pure mercy. A grateful person does not take anything for granted. Every breath, every opportunity, every moment of peace, every provision, every door opened, every trial survived, is seen as a gift. They walk through life with eyes wide open to the countless mercies that surround them, mercies so abundant that they cannot be numbered. They know that they are standing not by their own strength, but by divine assistance. And this knowledge produces a constant flow of gratitude from their hearts. Gratitude is not reserved only for the obvious blessings. True gratitude shines brightest in the hidden blessings, in the moments that others might overlook. It is easy to be grateful when a major breakthrough comes, when healing arrives, when a dream is fulfilled. But the truly grateful soul gives thanks for the quiet mercies, the unnoticed protections, the hidden provisions, the delays that prevented disaster, the closed doors that shielded from harm. They recognize that favor is often working most powerfully in the invisible places, orchestrating things beyond their understanding, and so their gratitude never sleeps. Gratitude changes perception. It transforms struggles into stepping stones, setbacks into setups, losses into lessons. The grateful person does not become bitter when life grows hard. They become wiser, stronger, and more aware of the unseen goodness still at work. They can praise even with tears in their eyes because they trust that even pain can be a vessel carrying favor into their lives. Gratitude keeps the heart soft and the spirit light, making it a fertile ground where even greater favor can be planted. Favor increases in an environment of gratitude. When a person acknowledges and cherishes even the smallest blessings, they are entrusted with greater ones. Gratitude shows maturity. It proves that the soul can handle increase without becoming arrogant, that it can receive without forgetting the giver, that it can be elevated without losing humility. The soul that gives thanks for little will be given much, not because of entitlement, but because their heart posture has made them worthy of. Gratitude also guards the soul against pride and entitlement. It constantly reminds the person that everything they have, their talents, opportunities, health, family, success, is not a result of their own greatness, but of divine kindness. This remembrance keeps them humble, keeps them dependent, and keeps them mindful. Without gratitude, blessings can become stumbling blocks. They can breed arrogance, complacency, and selfishness. But with gratitude, blessings become tools for service, sources of joy, and reasons for even deeper devotion. Living a life of gratitude is not passive. It is powerful. It shifts the atmosphere around a person. It lifts the soul above complaint, bitterness, and negativity. It draws others close because a grateful person radiates peace and joy. It glorifies the one who gives all good things, magnifying his mercy before a watching world. A grateful person becomes a living testimony that favor is not a fleeting moment, but a way of life. Gratitude must be expressed both in words and in actions. It is not enough to feel grateful. True gratitude must overflow into deeds. It must show up in kindness to others, in generosity with resources, in excellence in work, in faithfulness in responsibilities. Every act of stewardship becomes an act of gratitude. Every time a person uses their blessings to bless others, they are saying, "Thank you for what I have been." This kind of gratitude multiplies favor, for the more it is honored, the more it is poured out. Gratitude also requires remembrance. The soul must deliberately recall past blessings, past deliverances, past mercies. When challenges arise, the grateful soul strengthens itself by remembering how far it has already been brought, how many times the impossible was made possible, how many storms were calmed. This remembrance fuels endurance, anchors faith, and protects against despair. Ingratitude, by contrast, blinds the heart. It makes blessings seem small and trials seem overwhelming. It breeds dissatisfaction, restlessness, and resentment. It closes the door to further favor because it proves the soul unready to recognize and steward the gifts already given. Therefore, cultivating gratitude is not optional for those who seek to walk in favor. It is essential. It is the discipline that keeps the soul aligned with the truth, that keeps the hearts tender, that keeps the spirit open to receive more. Blues. Gratitude is a shield against the corrosive effects of hardship. Even when life wounds the soul, gratitude keeps bitterness from taking root. It reminds the heart that even in loss, favor is still present, working in ways not yet seen, preparing a greater harvest from the seeds sown in tears. It gives the soul the strength to say, even now I give thanks. And that declaration of faith draws down mercy and favor in abundant measure. To live a life of gratitude is to live a life rich with favor. It is to walk with a heart constantly lifted upward, constantly aware of the countless reasons to give thanks, constantly ready to receive even more because it has honored what has already been given. Gratitude is not a small thing. It is a mighty force. It is the breath of the soul, the light of the heart, and the pathway upon which favor runs swiftly and surely into every corner of a person's life. Faith is the foundation upon which the life of favor is built. It is the force that propels a person forward, even when the way seems unclear, the obstacles insurmountable, and the end of the journey unseen. Faith is not a passive hope, but an active belief, a deep trust that moves the soul into action. It is the firm conviction that no matter how difficult the road, the one who has promised is faithful, and the promises he has made will come to pass in due time. To walk in favor, one must first walk in faith, for without faith, favor cannot be fully realized or sustained. Faith does not depend on visible evidence. It does not require the reassurance of what is seen or known. Instead, faith is a complete trust in the unseen. It is knowing that the unseen world is more real than the seen world, and that although we may not be able to see the solution, we trust that it is already on its way. Faith believes that what is promised will be delivered, even if it takes time, and even if the current circumstances seem to contradict it. It is in this tension of believing before seeing, acting before knowing, and trusting before understanding that favor begins to take root. Faith is often tested, and it is in the moments of testing that the strength of one's faith is revealed. The faithful person does not falter when faced with challenges. Rather, they dig deeper into their trust in the Lord. It is in the moments when life seems to be falling apart that the faithful soul holds tighter to the belief that favor is still present, that blessings are still coming, and that God's promises remain This unshakable faith becomes the very thing that unlocks favor, for when God sees faith in the heart, he responds. His favor flows into a life that demonstrates unwavering trust in his power, his timing, and his goodness. To walk in faith is to continually put one foot in front of the other, even when the path is unclear. It is not about knowing every detail, but about trusting that the next step will be revealed in time. The faithful person does not wait for everything to align before they move. They move knowing that alignment will come as they take those steps. They trust that favor follows them, that the doors they are meant to walk through will open, that the ones they are not meant to enter will remain closed. They trust that with every step they are being guided by divine wisdom, and that the favor they seek will find them exactly where they are supposed to be. Faith leads to a deep deeper connection with the divine. As faith grows, so too does the awareness of God's presence in every part of life. The faithful person begins to recognize the hand of favor at work, even in the smallest details, in the timing of a conversation, in the unexpected opportunities that arise, in the provision that seems to come out of nowhere. Favor becomes not just an external blessing, but a deep internal awareness of the divine favor that is constantly at work in all things, guiding, protecting, and blessing. 2, faith is the courage to keep moving, to keep trusting, even when doubt tries to make its hold in the heart. They work today 5 times for you. There is more to come with the faith that is coming. 2, treason takes a prayer. Either us and when is reaching. And the faith does not deny the existence of the storm. It simply trusts that the storm will not last forever, and that the one who calms the storm is walking beside you. Faith knows that the storm is temporary, but favor is eternal. True faith is unwavering, not based on circumstances, but on the character of the one who promises. It is anchored in the unchanging nature of God, his wisdom, his goodness, and his ability to fulfill what he has declared. When favor comes into the life of a person who walks by faith, it does not disappear with hardship or when things take longer than expected. It stays because it is grounded in trust, and it grows stronger through each trial. Faith is the firm belief that despite everything that may go wrong, the best is still ahead, and the promises of favor and success are still alive and will come to fruition. The faithful soul does not measure their success by what the world deems successful. They measure success by their obedience and trust in the Creator, knowing that true favor does not always look like worldly wealth or fame. It often looks like peace in the midst of trouble, joy in the midst of pain, and a deep sense of purpose, even in seasons of waiting. This kind of faith redefines what it means to be blessed. It recognizes that blessings come not only in the form of tangible things, but also in the form of spiritual growth, inner peace, and deep-rooted joy that surpasses all understanding. Faith is the strength to wait. It is not a faith that demands immediate answers or quick solutions, but one that patiently waits for God's perfect timing. Waiting is often the hardest part of faith, but it is in the waiting that character is built, trust is deepened, and favor is prepared. The faithful person understands that God's timing is perfect, and although it may seem delayed from a human perspective, favor arrives exactly when it is needed. This waiting period is not wasted. It is in the waiting that the soul is refined, the heart is purified, and the person is prepared to steward the favor that will come. Walking in faith is not just a momentary act, but a lifestyle. It becomes the default way of living, trusting, believing, and acting in faith every day, in every situation. It is a decision to believe the best even when the worst is happening. It is a constant choosing of trust over fear, of belief over doubt, of hope over despair. It is in this unwavering commitment to walk by faith that favor finds its place, and it is in the continual practice of faith that a life of favor is fully realized. Favor is the natural result of faith because it is faith that connects a person to the divine source of all blessing. It is faith that positions a person to receive, to act, and to move in the fullness of favor. When a person walks by faith, they walk walk in the flow of divine blessing, trusting that every step they take is in alignment with the greater plan, and that each step is carrying them toward greater favor, greater purpose, and greater fulfillment. The pursuit of righteousness is a key aspect of walking in the favor of God. Righteousness is not a mere external act or a set of rules to follow. It is a heart condition, a life that seeks to reflect divine values, principles, and character in every thought, word, and deed. To pursue righteousness is to align oneself with the will of the Creator, to strive continually to live according to His guidance and commands, and to maintain integrity in all aspects of life, even when no one is watching. It is in this relentless pursuit of righteousness that favor is not just found, but cultivated and magnified. Righteousness is often misunderstood as perfection or flawlessness, but it is far more than that. It is a commitment to consistently choose what is right, even when the easier choice is to compromise. It is a conscious decision to follow the path of truth, honesty, justice, and love, regardless of the challenges or sacrifices involved. The person who pursues righteousness does not do so out of a desire for accolades or recognition, but because their heart is set on pleasing the one who created them. This pursuit is fueled by a deep sense of gratitude for the mercy and grace that have already been extended, and a yearning to reflect those same qualities in their own life. Walking in righteousness often involves a continual battle against one's own desires, ego, and the influences of a world that does not always align with the values of truth and goodness. There will always be temptations, distractions, and pressures to take shortcuts or compromise on what is right. But the righteous person chooses over and over again to remain steadfast in their commitment to do what is right, even when it is difficult, inconvenient, or unpopular. This daily decision to choose righteousness over sin is what strengthens the character and builds a life that is pleasing to God. One of the fundamental aspects of righteousness is integrity. It is about being the same person in private as one is in public, about doing what is right even when no one will notice. Integrity involves being truthful, honest, and consistent in one's actions regardless of the situation. The righteous person understands that their actions reflect not just their own character, but the character of the one they follow. They know that even the smallest act of integrity done in secret contributes to building a foundation of trust and favor that will eventually bear fruit. They do not seek to deceive or manipulate. Rather, they seek to honor God in everything they do, knowing that favor comes to those whose hearts are pure and whose actions align with the truth. The pursuit of righteousness also involves a commitment to justice and fairness. The righteous person does not turn a blind eye to injustice or oppression. They actively seek to make the world around them a better place by standing up for those who cannot stand for themselves, by advocating for the voiceless, and by acting with compassion and fairness. They understand that righteousness is not just about personal morality, but about bringing about the will of God in the world. They believe that favor follows those who work for justice, who treat others with dignity, and who seek peace in the midst of conflict. Humility is also a vital component of righteousness. The righteous person understands that their good deeds do not make them better than others, but rather they recognize their dependence on divine grace. They are quick to forgive, slow to anger, and patient with others because they understand that they too have received mercy and favor that they did not deserve. Humility in the pursuit of righteousness means not seeking praise or recognition for one's good deeds, but doing what is right because it is the right thing to do, knowing that God alone sees and rewards in his time. Humility prevents the righteous person from becoming prideful or self-righteous, and it keeps their heart soft and open to correction, growth, and the guidance of God. In the pursuit of righteousness, there is also a deep awareness of the need for repentance and forgiveness. The righteous person is not someone who believes they are above sin, but someone who is quick to acknowledge their mistakes and shortcomings and who seeks to make things right with both God and others. Righteousness does not mean perfection, but a heart that desires to do better, to live more in alignment with God's will, and to seek reconciliation when relationships are dead. Repentance is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength and a commitment to spiritual growth. The righteous person knows that they are not perfect, but they strive to be better each day, continually moving closer to the likeness of the one they serve. The pursuit of righteousness is also closely tied to living in alignment with God's word. The righteous person seeks wisdom and guidance from divine revelation, using it as the blueprint for their lives. They do not look to the world for validation or direction, but rather they seek the will of God through prayer, reflection, and meditation on his word. Righteousness is not about relying on one's own understanding, but about submitting to the wisdom of the Creator, knowing that his ways are higher than our ways, and that his commands are always for our good. As they align their lives with divine wisdom, they find that favor follows them because they are walking in the path of truth. When a person consistently pursues righteousness, they begin to reflect the character of God in their own life. Their actions, decisions, and interactions with others are marked by love, patience, kindness, and integrity. Their lives become a testimony to the power of divine favor, not because they are perfect, but because they are committed to living according to the principles of righteousness. Favor does not come to those who pursue selfish gain, but to those who seek to live lives that honor God and benefit others. The pursuit of righteousness does not guarantee a life free from trials or difficulties, but it does guarantee that favor will be present even in the midst of hardship. The righteous person faces challenges with a sense of purpose and trust, knowing that their efforts to live rightly are seen by God, and that in his time he will reward their faithfulness. The pursuit of righteousness is a lifelong journey, one that requires dedication, perseverance, and a continual turning towards the divine. But as a person walks faithfully in this pursuit, favor becomes a natural byproduct. God honors those who seek to live in his will, and his favor rests upon them, guiding, protecting, and blessing them in ways that they could never imagine. Righteousness opens the door to a deeper relationship with God. It is through the pursuit of righteousness that one draws closer to the heart of the Creator. For it is in this pursuit that we align ourselves with his purposes and desires. As a person continues to walk in righteousness, their relationship with God grows stronger, their faith becomes deeper, and their life becomes more fully aligned with divine favor. This favor is not fleeting or temporary. It is a lasting, sustaining presence that guides the righteous in every area of their life. It is in the pursuit of righteousness that favor is not just something one experiences, but something one becomes, a living testament to the goodness, mercy, and grace of the Almighty.